Action folded to John Dolan in the small blind. He calls. Dan Coleman checks his option. Second pair for Dolan. Gut shot straight draw for Coleman. Dolan bets 225,000 on the flop. Coleman calls. A deuce on the turn.
Gives Coleman a weird little gut shot. Double gutted now.
Coleman will bet for a second time. 700,000.
Coleman trying to apply pressure with his big chip stack. Little semi-bluff. Remember, Dolan is the shortest stack here. And remember, when you make this call on the turn, you're very often sort of committing yourself to calling the river too. Does make the call. 3 on the river. Coleman gets there.
Wow.
Check.
Dolan. Bet flop. Check called turn when he was ahead. Now behind. And can he find a fold when Coleman value bets the river? Wow, Coleman shoves on him. Going to cost Dolan everything he's got to make this call with just a pair, not even top pair.
And if he does make this call, it will cost him everything he's got.
It'll cost him his tournament life, and Coleman would take a huge chip lead, three-handed.
This call would take some cojones, and it would be wrong.
While he's tanking, can we officially close this contest, please?
Contest closed. Do one last refresh. Really tough spot for Dolan. He knows Dan Coleman is capable of putting him to a decision for his tournament life with nothing. And this is a fairly disguised hand that just got there, but it's not like he needs a monster disguised hand to be, for Dolan to be losing here. It's only got second pair. I don't know if I could even think about making this call for that long. I would get blown off a winner more often than not, but I don't think I want to go out of this tournament making a hero call with second pair and be wrong.
Sly smile on John Dolan's face.
You gotta factor in the embarrassment, James.
And Coleman looking ridiculously relaxed.
Well, he's already won $20 million this year.
That would make me feel pretty relaxed. TJ's convinced that Dolan's folding. He says he's just in the tank about the cost of your breakfast. Kevin gives praise to Dan Coleman. He says, wow, what a polarizing bet. And that's what's got Dolan puzzled. That's why he's still thinking about this. Ryan Van Sanford says, really good shot by Coleman, but hope Dolan finds a fold. What do you reckon? The longer he thinks, the more inclined he is to fold?
I think that he is going to fold this eventually. I think that maybe he even decided a long time ago he's going to fold. He's just thinking it through, and it's really weird because, you know, when Coleman makes this polarizing bet, you know, it's usually a crazy strong hand or nothing, and he's wondering what crazy strong hand got there. 5-6 and running diamonds are the only two things that got there.
Marshall says, really feel like he's going to show the 8 as he folds, and Coleman will show the 6. Brock Wilson says having the 8 of diamonds makes it a tougher spot. How long has he been in the tank now for?
It's been at least 2.5, 3 minutes. I'm also convinced that when you're in the tank this long, eventually you start thinking about other things, right? It's like, did I change my flight? Is my carry-on bag going to be too heavy?
Did I remember to reserve an aisle seat?
Name writes in to say if John Dolan calls, and he's more like John Doe.
Nathan points out that there was that hand that Coleman showed earlier on. Remember the 8-4 bluff? That was the last time we saw him bomb the river. This is for Dolan's tournament life. This is for all of his chips.
Call.
He calls!
Makes the call. Wow.
Both hands will be shown. Coleman's straight is good, and John Dolan is eliminated. We're down to 3 players. John Dolan finishes in 4th. He cashes with just over $500,000, $548,000. And Dan Coleman has a ridiculous chip lead with 3 players remaining. Coleman now sitting on $24 million. Mike Lear on $11.7 million. And Sean Kunix on $8.6 million.
How did I know you were going to say that at some point today? Dan Coleman has a ridiculous chip lead.
It was written in the stars. Kevin says, does Dan Coleman make mistakes? This guy is a beast. Hard to question anything he does. Can I hire him as a coach? I'm sure he's for high. You may not be able to afford him, but I'm sure he's available.
Everybody's got a price. Matt Faulkner writes in to say, my sincerest John Dolansis. John walks away with $548,763.
Luke Leonard said, such a sick bet. Terrible call. Hope Coleman ships it. And Rob King points out that with Coleman so far ahead, there is no way a deal gets done unless he loses some of that monster chip lead.
Yeah.